Hello, everyone, and welcome to Be Diced Adventures Frontiers of Eberron. I am your GM, Michael St. Gregory. Welcome to the premiere stream of what is surely going to be a fantastic Western adventure set in my favorite setting for all of D&D, the world of Eberron, created by the amazing Keith Baker. We've got a few familiar faces of people you've seen in previous streams, and as we go on through this story, you're going to see all shapes of sizes of players and wonderful stories that we're going to tell. But first, let's get into the mood, because it's time to ride, y'all. One moment. Seems my stream hasn't. Okay, there we are. We begin on the outskirts of town, just before dawn. A pale rider patrols the streets. Delilah Armstrong, a bounty hunter, a soldier, and a member of the neighborhood watch in this town of Wyrmwatch, a small mining community at the base of the Endworld Mountains. For the last week or so, you and several others have been gathered up by the sheriff to essentially form a posse and help maintain, but also investigate things that seem a bit off. And most recently, the biggest piece of news has been the arrival of one Eleanor Vitae, who has opened up her own mining facility. Now, over the past several days, you've investigated and found some strange findings in relation to Miss Vitae and the business that she claims to be conducting. At this time, with the evidence that you've gathered of strange visuals of how workers are coming in and out, possible signs and emblems of ancient elven cults, what have you been doing to investigate further as you ride into town?
Delilah has been taking some time and making some stops on some old research facilities, getting in contact with some of her old associates to gather any information on the House of Vol, which is the house that we found out the symbol was for. Just digging up any old legends or myths, anything that might be useful.
Let's have you do a religion check to start us off.
It's a 19.
With a 19, you will have gathered some more interesting information in regards to the history of this cult. House Vol was a house that was started by a person named Erandis Vol, allegedly a Lich Queen, who bore the legendary and perhaps mythical unknown dragon mark called the Mark of Death. Of the 12 known, it was the 13th. It is currently believed to be extinct. Some believe it may not even have existed at all, and may have just been part of myth and legend. The Aranel elves believe it to just be, at this point in their history, a children's story. One to delight during the scarier seasons of celebration. But in your research, you did find that this particular house seems to be obsessed with the very concept of death. But not only death, not seen in a morose fashion, but more of a celebration of being able to embrace the end of one life and begin anew in another. Who do you think you'd be sharing this information with at the utmost urgency?
Probably Copper Brass first. He's always the first person I inform with any important decisions.
Head to the sheriff's office of Copper Brass, a Warforged veteran, and has been the sole benefactor for all of your marshaling and town law enforcement, as it were. You arrive there, and despite the fact that an automaton like that does not have to sleep, you still find Sheriff Brass with his feet kicked up on a desk, his hat lowered above his eyes, hands folded and just settling. He does hear the door open with you coming in.
I did not catch any of that.
Sorry, my microphone seemed to have gone AWOL. He goes,
You know, you could be a bit more subtle for someone like me. Trying to at least gain a little peace of mind before the next big thing keeps coming into town.
Well, some big things aren't really the next big thing. It's just constant.
All right, well, don't mind my hyperbole. How you been? What you been up to? Where you going?
Took care of some bounties real quick. Did some research on House Vol.
We're still thinking about that as a possibility, eh?
I never take out any possibility till it's absolutely not a possibility.
You think it's got something to do with what that lady is doing over in that mine?
There's too many coincidences, Copper. I don't trust it.
I learned that trust is only as good as how far you can look looking the other way. Well, to be honest, I know that I was built to have that kind of thing where I literally can have eyes in the back of my head, but that ain't here nor there. Keep an eye on all this strange shit that's been going on. Because if what you're telling me about all this stuff I hear about mind control and elves being more hired to do stuff that a human house was doing, it all just don't add up. So you better start making it add up, or else they're probably just gonna run right past us before we know it.
I got my eyes and ears in every place I can possibly be, so if there's something there, I'll find it.
Don't stretch yourself too thin there. Remember, you got backup. And I ain't talking about me.
Might have to actually start using it.
I'll be on your way. I'll probably check in with you later.
You know where I'll be.
Go now to a workshop where an individual is crafting away at a prototype weapon, one that they've been toiling on for quite some time. The Institute is a building in town full of arcanicists, which are essentially scientists who specialize in magic. What they do is they train individuals to be, as the locals call them, wand slingers. Magical weapons that look like firearms, but can cast powerful cantrips. Silas Hayden, you have been invited. You have had discourse with a few individuals from the Institute, and they have been impressed with what they've seen so far. You're also in a better spot in life as you have recently broke free from debt. Where is this new point in your life being driven to?
Silas is ever continuing his work, reinventing the wheel, as it were. The Institute may be trying to make better soldiers or better wand slingers, as it were, but Silas is trying to make better wands, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of resources, and with how the past couple days have been going, he's inching closer to the next step in his plans for what would be the finished product of his arcane firearm.
There is safe to assume that there is a firing range of your own private residency to test out these sorts of things. Why don't we give your prototype a test right now?
That sounds like a darn fine idea.
So there are 3 targets that you've set up, and I'd like you to make 3 attack rolls. There will be no modifiers to this, because this is a test.
So just flat d20s, or
3 d20 rolls.
gotcha. I have a 16, a 2, and a 10. So upper end, middle of the road, and the bottom of the barrel.
The first one goes off clean. What kind of cantrip bolt would you say is fired at this time in the experimental stage?
Silas is proficient, first and foremost, with the Firebolt cantrip.
Standard issue, easy to set. Fire's clean, a nice ethereal smoke coming from the barrel. Second shot overheats. And you have a bit of a mechanical error at that point. Resetting, trying to get that kyber crystal in there that is used for this particular cantrip at this point. You think it's adjusted well, but when you go to fire the third time, it jams.
Gosh,
Proof
dang
of it
Yeah.
being almost ready, at least, is in your hands. What's going on in your head at that point?
Two steps forward, one step back. That's about as simply as he would be putting it. We're making progress, but just not quite there. Still a little bit to go on, and he does believe that the next step he has already worked out what to do with the wooden base of the wand by making it a Fernian ash to assist in supplementing with the fire. Fernian ash coming from the border of the elemental plane of fire. He believes that the next thing would be he has some basic gems and jewels that he has added for some low level enchantments, and he believes that the way to actually take it to the next step to get it where it needs to be is to start implementing the process of installing dragon shards into the weapon itself.
You hear a knock at your door. When you open up, young man, half-elf, courier. Can't quite remember his name, but you've seen his face. Mr. Hayden, I got a package for you, sir. If you wouldn't mind, just sign here. Not sure what it is, just told to deliver it to you ASAP.
No problem. But capital S, scribble. Capital H, scribble.
Thank you kindly, sir. You have a good day.
You yourself.
You see that it is from Clinton Hiltwick, director of the Institute. It is essentially like a manila envelope size. You open up and there's a couple documents in there. One, a letter reading, Silas, hope this information can help you. Some interesting things that I've discovered. Do with it what you will. And what you see is seemingly a strange schematic. You can't quite tell. It looks like it was paper traced over something in order to create an outline of what the physical object was. And it looks like a very ancient type of device. You do see, though, scribbled on the top note there, Project Bulwark.
All right. Let's give this a look. And he brings it over to his station, kind of clears the spot, moves his cup of coffee, his third cup of coffee probably, and lays them out, gets some paper, gets pen and ink, and just starts reviewing it, trying to reverse engineer what he's seeing so that he knows what he's dealing with and how to make it work.
I will let you decide if you would like to make this either an Arcana or History check.
I will take Arcana because I have a racial feature that is going to bump that. So not the best base roll, but still a 13.
With a 13, you see that there seems to be certainly some sort of specific arrangement of sigils. You don't necessarily know where these sigils are coming from or what language. It certainly doesn't even seem, it looks like it might be a language, but it doesn't have any sort of familiarity to it. But they're purposeful. You think you remember hearing the term schema, schema. Schema is usually a flat strip of some durable material, and there are carved or etched symbols and sigils that cover its face. They tend to store low-level spells. But the way that this is arranged just seems not right.
It's kind of like one of those things where, you look at something and you go, well, this isn't how they teach you to do it, but I guess it gets the job done.
Exactly.
But with that, he's going to kind of like take some time, take some notes on how they did it here, and try to figure out what will change, of course, in theory, before he tries it in practice.
And as you put that aside for a later time, we move on. At this date and time, what the equivalent of a Sunday in our normal calendar here is known as Sol. It is a day of worship. And at the Church of the Silver Flame, the religion that essentially founded this town and was brought together by Elder Whedon, the since retired elder, who's gone to the nation of Karnath for a religious mission. In his place, one of the Order of Silver Flame Friars, Brother Mason, has taken his place. And he is setting up currently in the chapel at the early morning hours. Sister Mirashana, what, if you wouldn't mind, describe your morning appearance at this time?
Oh, God, what time is it? Time for service. Well, considering been our routine for many a year now, she says she would normally present herself about the town. Consider it the Sunday best, which is a more cleaner, more kit version of her typical robes, which consist of like a white underdress with a black bodice and long black skirts and a black veil. Although now her clothes have very intricate golden embroidery depicting the flames of a silver flame inlaid with braids as well. She sits on the covering her face, just into by the ceremony.
As you step into the chapel, you see Brother Mason. About 5'9". He's got long blackish hair. He's got a bit of a Timothy Chalamet look going on, but about maybe 10 years older. And he is reciting a sermon that he hopes to be able to deliver to the congregation later in the afternoon. But you can tell he's nervous. He's got a bit of sweat that doesn't seem like it's from the ever non-changing heat of this environment. Mm-hmm. He's just wiping himself and takes out a piece of paper, looks over, and starts to scribble out another line and replace it. He starts walking around and he realizes, Sister Mirashana, I'm very sorry. I did not mean to. I didn't know you were awake.
Don't mean to. Sorry, could you say that again?
I didn't mean to startle you. I'm honestly, actually, you startled me. I didn't
Oh
know
no,
that you
please! I
were.
did not wish.
Didn't know that you were here. I'm sorry.
I did not wish to interrupt your train of thought. It's fine.
No. It's
Here,
fine. It's
before
fine.
you, she'll extend a handkerchief towards him, just for the before you smudge the ink.
Thank you. It's
I believe it. Those notes are quite important.
it's a dry heat, like they say.
Quite. You never
I know that
quite
you can
used
see
to
right
say.
through this. It's fine.
It'll
I
be
know what I want to say to these people. I just don't know how they're going to accept it.
They will listen. How they may perceive your words is entirely beyond, and that's no fault of yours. It is as it has always been in the church.
I want to make the change that we all need. I want people to know that, listen, I have utmost respect for Elder Whedon. I know that his ways were harsh. He was a bit more, well, some would say less tolerant than others. I just want people to be able to have as open mind about me as I hope they have about the rest of the world.
It will take time. I believe that their views are partly to do with how the rest of the world seems like such a far off concept. You know? As someone who hails from the city yourself, you would understand that. There's a lot
I'm
more
used to people shouting at me.
but
But you'll be there, right?
of course, always.
Well, thank you.
Stare at the
He
back
hands
wall, I
you-
was told.
He hands you back your handkerchief and holds onto your hand a bit. It just says, I want you to know I'm very grateful that someone as devout as you is still holding on to what we can all achieve here together.
Thank you. Your words mean much to me.
There's a moment there where he realizes now he's held on to your hand a bit too long, and he takes it back. Right. I will see you later for service.
All the best to you. You'll do fine, she reiterates one more time.
He walks out and heads back to reciting his speech. As you exit out of the chapel, there's a cold stillness in the air, usually something that people are used to in the mornings in this town, but something feels unsettling about it this time. Give me a perception check, if you will.
Perception?
Yes, please.
Not wonderful, that would be a 10.
It was only a what?
A 10.
10. Okay. With just a 10, you can't quite put your finger on it. But the air usually is moving, at least, with wind. But the cold feeling is just still. And you will have to hold on to that feeling until later on in the day when you may be able to out what it is. On the outskirts of the town, even further away, there is a waterfall. The waterfall has a bit of some settlements for nomadic types. One that you may find there is a goblin. One that is a bit people shy, but is very protective of its land. Edgar the Fearful, as he's known. On this morning, as you wash your clothes by the riverbanks, you know today's the day that you're definitely getting ready to go into town and say hello to someone.
I'm gonna say hello.
And then you realize, oh, that means I have to talk to people.
Oh, never mind.
What is something that Edgar does to psych himself up?
He talks to the trees.
Sorry, one more time.
He talks to the trees.
Talks to the trees. Give me a nature check.
Oh, man.
Because I have no doubt that Edgar truly believes he's communicating with these plants.
That's a nat 1 for a -1. Actually, no, for just a straight 0.
Your
Sorry.
confidence in your speech to these plants. Give us a little bit of that.
Edgar's just gonna walk up to one of these big trees, but he's gonna make sure that he's in the sunlight because he doesn't like shadows. So he's just gonna be standing there, like puffing his chest up, his 3-foot self. Hello, I come from up by the waterfall. There's a lot of people there. Yeah. I like nature. And flowers, and I don't like the dark, and I can go on, but I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
The branches above you start to shake a bit, and you think, oh, this is it. This is here it is. And then you see it's just a couple of squirrels that are climbing around.
Oh man, I thought today was going to be my day, but I guess I was wrong. I am going to go back to my laundry.
One of them throws a pine cone at you.
You just see like, I didn't like you either. My golly, why do they all don't like puns?
The one thing that you do realize about town that's inviting, they always are cooking good food. And that smell wafts over no different. It's smoky. It's got that tang smell to it, the sweet aroma of special spices and sauce mixes. It's too much to give up and avoid people for that.
I am going to go get food. And he's just gonna like.
And that is what determines you to finally get into town. We move to a different part of town. An individual who was working with some of the, well, less societally valued, but financially respected individuals, which is a nice fancy way of saying criminals. Alfie, introduce yourself and what you're doing on this fine Sunday morning.
So Alfie is a 4'7" hill dwarf, bright red bushy beard with a stylized mustache and braided goatee. He has a monocle on his right eye. Has several attachments on the side of it that just swings up, and he is currently muttering away to himself as he's writing different chemical components into his journal and making several different combinations to his newest project.
What is his latest project?
His latest project is something he likes to call Compound 4. It's a playoff of C4. He's basically combining a bunch of different volatile chemical or components that you can utilize as like a demolition charge of sorts. Something that's easily compact or easily handled and transported and applied. But yeah, he calls it Compound 4.
Several locals have asked you kindly to please stop testing them close to their houses. In fact, they've asked you please go out a few miles from the desert and try it there.
Yeah, he's
and so you do.
Yeah.
So let's see how explosive your latest compound is. What I would like you to do is I want you to roll a d20 and add your proficiency bonus.
Okay. Ooh. It's going to be an unnatural 20.
You remember this time to go back further enough from the blast radius. Not to mention, you put on both goggles. Lifting up the charge, you see it has its rune activation, which will send the lightning bolt charge to the explosive material. Cross your fingers. Lower the plunger. Boom! A huge pile of sand explodes just outside of you. And you look, it is beautiful. But now I need you to make a
compound worked.
saving.
Dexterity saving throw. All right, let's go.
You forgot about the debris.
That's going to be a 10.
As you're celebrating, yeah, all right, woo. One of the harder pieces of ground smacks you right in the back of the head. No
That's
damage,
accurate.
just embarrassment.
That's accurate. Yeah, Alfie's jumping with excitement now that his compound's finally got the right volatile mixtures that's stable and able to be applied. And yeah, he takes that rock to the back of the head and he's like, damn it, I always do that. But it works! Great!
And a victory march back into town, who more than likely heard it. But it's not just experimenters and bounty hunters and villagers. There are people who own businesses in this town as well. And one of the more popular businesses known is the Trenchfoot Tavern and Inn, which overseen by an individual who employs people of a certain persuasion and line of work to entertain. Ivara, you, however, though, at this point in time, kind of handed off the duties to a couple of your girls to take care of it. Ones that you trust, ones that you know. Because right now you've been concentrating on a book that you've been holding on to for quite some time. You've never really disclosed with a lot of people where this book comes from, but everybody knows that it's a prized possession of yours because it's always with you. They're all aware that you do have spellcasting abilities. Most of the time, they're used in dire emergencies or to prove a point and get someone out of town. But in the past week or so, you swear that this book has been trying to communicate with you. Been hearing these whispers on occasion, zoning out at some times, telling you to take the offer, to make a deal. And ultimately, you figure it's worth talking back. And the last thing you remember is reading through the book, accepting this unspoken terms and conditions, as it were. Then the next day, you woke up. And that's where we find you now. So what's going on with Avara?
My apologies. I downed a huge spoonful of ice cream.
It's all right. I got my chocolate covered raisins right here. People got a snack, okay?
Oh,
No
good.
shame.
No, I totally get it. So, first thing Avara is going to do, she's going to get up. And she's going to check on her girls. She's going to make sure everybody is safe, happy, nothing bad has happened that she needs to kind of go around and fix if someone decides to show their face in here again.
And the girls are respectful of you. They see you as almost like a motherly figure to them. And they know that you are one who knows how to lay down the law when it's necessary. But they also respect that you are more than what you seem. They know that you're very smart. They know that you're very knowledgeable. They know that you love to study culture and that you invite intelligent discussions. In fact, you hope that they happen more so than the usual rigmarole, as it were, around the tables and the poker tables and the bar and all the other stuff that comes in when the mining shifts are done.
Nothing gets past me, baby.
And that's why this book has felt more important lately. On the cover of it, something that you never quite really noticed, but it just revealed itself a bit more, was this shape of a blue dragon. It's been puzzling you as to what, over the past couple of days, this connection could be. What is this? The voice that I've been hearing? Does it have anything to do with this book? So I'd like you to do. You can either do an Arcana, History, or Religion check.
Arcana, history, or religion. God damn. You're giving me all these options as to how this is going to come out. Arcana,
Yes.
religion,
Good
or
game.
what else?
Arcana, History, or Religion.
All of them are the same. So I'm going to do. I'm going to do history.
Okay.
That is going to be a 16 plus 1, so 17.
With the 17, you'd probably know your way around a myth or two. And there is something to the blue dragon that shows up in a lot of myths. There's one about a blue dragon that goes way back to earliest histories of this world. It's one called Aureon. Aureon.
Aureon.
Mhm.
Thank you.
According to the myth, at least from what you can recollect, Orion was the first to discover the secrets of magic and become this world's first wizard. But now it is believed that in its deity transcendence, it shares magic with those who are willing to study it.
All right.
Many believe that of the gods that make up a collective known as the sovereign host, this particular one is known to be a sovereign of law and lore. Now, Taylor, as the player, you've chosen for your warlock class to take the Pact of the Tome.
Mm-hmm.
You think that you might have, now Ivara believes at this point, you have a stronger connection than you've ever had with the information that you find in this book. But you never questioned why it's always just has the right amount of stuff when exactly you need it most. Give me an intelligence check. Just flat intelligence modifier.
What intelligence? All right. That's going to be a 17 plus 2, or sorry, plus 1. That will be 18.
18. You may not know the full history of it, but you can put 2 and 2 together. This book has something to do with this god. And if this book, which you can start to almost see in your mind, almost looks like the very holy symbol of the god Orion, but in a 3-dimensional form in your hands. This has got to be the key for you to be able to unlock all that hidden potential you knew you've always possessed. And if there's anything that you can use to be able to protect your girls, your town, your business, seems like something worth having, right?
Very much so, considering what I have written for Ivara, so yes.
So with this knowledge kind of clicking together, what do you feel like she would be taking on as a next step before the day starts?
Probably upon letting this knowledge click, she's going to... She's probably going to make sure, like, she goes through her usual routine, make sure the girls are all good, everything like that, and then she's going to leave the place with her best girl, and she, I think, is going to probably go to any sort of place where she can do research on this, because I feel like she's gonna do any research she can on this blue dragon, anything she can, just to kind of, because she always kind of keeps track of everything that's been going on in the town. And upon her seeing this blue dragon in the last campaign, she's gonna be trying to do as much research on this blue dragon individual as much as possible.
A lot of questions asked as to where you can get this kind of help, and they all direct you towards the headmistress of the school, Victoria Everhart. She isn't available at the moment, but you do see that she will be back later at the evening, as it is the day off for the schools. She wouldn't be particularly around for the small library that this town has. but you make a mental note as certainly a person you might be interested in speaking with. And with everyone's business so far being attended to, we'd like to take a small broadcasting break for your enjoyment.
You're listening to WYRM, a house service broadcasting station.
Well, hell, howdy, and well met, Wyrmwatch. This is Nathan Inkwell with your Wyrmwatch news. Today, we are celebrating a life of one of our greatest leaders. Our dear elder, Elder Whedon, has announced that he is going to be going on a mission to the nation of Karnath, where he's been invited to help local folk find a new path with the Church of the Silver Flame. Also, Sheriff Copper Brass has put together a new neighborhood watch team. Folks are calling them the Wyrmwatchers, but who knows if that name is gonna stick. Anyway, be on the lookout for clear weather, fair skies, and of course, an interview next week with none other than Lady Eleanor Vitae, as she divulges some of her plans on what she is going to be doing to help the town in terms of the new Dragon Shard mining facilities that are undergoing construction as of today. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. You're listening to WYRM.
The chapel is full, and all have gathered for the very important first speech, as it were, of Brother Mason. All eyes are on this individual. His vestments are very casual, which automatically gets some of the more talkative types to start immediately whispering to each other. You all know that town gossip Henrietta Goodwin is surely going to have a mouthful to say after this one is done. He looks at the very full crowd, probably the fullest it's been in quite some time, and he is incredibly nervous as to whether it's for him or against him. Wherever you may be situated in this congregation, you can tell that there is an energy in the air. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's so great to see so many faces. I'm so pleased that you could all join me today. This is a blessed time for us. The community truly isn't a community without everyone bonding together over something. And I realize that apparently I inadvertently may be the reason. Well, I just want you all to know that I know the way things used to be in this town. I know the way that things are. I've gotten to know a lot of you. I've gotten to speak with the soldiers, the farmers, the business owners, our law enforcement, our intelligent arcanicists, and the miners, everyone. And I'm very happy to know all of you. And I hope you'll allow me to excuse me. He goes and takes some water. I'm sorry, I'm very I came into the chapel this morning and I thought, what am I going to say? I rehearsed something, I wrote it down, and now I feel like it's not even, what's the point, right? You want someone to trust. You want someone to feel that you can be safe with. And who am I to be giving you that image of safety if I'm just saying something rehearsed. So I'll tell you. I want you all to know. I accept all of you. Even those among you that you don't accept. And I hope that we can all come together as a town and be better for it. Learn from the mistakes of the old. Change the ways that we used to be. Be more tolerant. Be more understanding. Live one life and start anew on another. So I hope we can all just enjoy that together. Thank you. This is very small smattering of applause from individuals. And eventually he continues on with the rest of the ceremonies. A few songs are sung by the local choir. A few of the school children who have been conducted by the headmistress of the school. Very pleased. All the parents are so happy. And as everyone exits, he is there to make sure that he is shaking the hand of everyone as they leave. Sheriff Brass catches the eye of all of you. Just kind of gives you a nod to those that he is regularly familiar with, and to a couple of you that he had sent out an open invite should you want to participate in this neighborhood watch. Those two of you being Alfie and Edgar. Before you head to the sheriff's station, though, is there anything anyone would like to do?
I'm gonna have a talk with Brother Mason.
All right. He sees you show up. I know I've seen you. I apologize. I'm still trying to make sure I get everyone's name.
I'm not around town all that much, so I don't fault you for it.
Good. I was going to say Delia, but I know that has to be wrong.
Delilah Armstrong.
There, that's it. I had in my head Delia Headstrong. I don't know why. It's not. It's
Like
not
I said,
that,
I
is
won't
it?
fault.
Okay. I'm not good with breaking the ice, as you can see. What can I do for you? Oh, did you enjoy the service? Did I do okay?
I'm
First
not
impressions?
a religious person, so I'm probably not the best to ask about that. It wasn't bad as our previous brother.
Yes, I heard
I'll
Elder
give you
Whedon
that.
had a tendency to yell more and at people than talk to them.
Oh, it wasn't even just the yelling. We're talking chastising people who don't deserve it because he thinks he's always in the right. But I should not be saying that to another holy man. Just seeing it from how I see it.
Well, I appreciate your patience.
I will say, there's something you said that caught my ear.
Oh, really? Okay,
Something
I'm
along the line.
happy to discuss anything you'd like to.
Something along the lines of embracing one life to begin anew in another.
Oh, yes. That is a bit of a mantra that I discovered in Karnath when I was studying with the friars. It's a bit transcendental, in my opinion, but people seem to be drawn to the idea of being able to start anew.
Well, as someone who clearly has, there's some
Right.
fishy business going on around town, and that
I
phrase in
offended you, didn't I?
particular. No, I'm talking about a job
I'm
on
sorry. I
currently.
knew that I was going to say something that was going to. I
Brother.
tried so hard.
Brother, it is very hard to offend me. The reason I bring it up,
Duly
there's
noted.
some fishy business going on around town. Nothing you need to worry yourself with for now. But that saying comes from an old house that I'm actually doing some research on, so I found it quite suspicious that a holy man is using a phrase and ideal from a house that is less than holy.
When you say house, do you mean the dragon marked houses?
That would be correct.
Well, I know that a lot of houses tend to have some religious uprooting, or rather foundation. But no, I just learned that from other members of the order.
Even if that be so, I would be careful not to use it too often around here, or at least use it very selectively.
I appreciate your candor. Oh, and I also wanted to say thank you again. I heard that there were some rougher individuals that you took care of recently.
Well, you could say that.
I am one who appreciates justice. And I know that sometimes justice has to be taken into the hands of the ones who are willing to do all they can. And it's commendable what you and your compatriots do for this town.
You make what I do sound more commendable than it really is. I dispatch of people who are being a nuisance to others for money. I don't do it for justice. Whoever's paying the highest, I do work for.
You know, you say that, and yet the people that are always seemingly paying the highest are the ones who are in charge of protecting us for the greater good. So interpret that as how you will, but
I'm just saying, I'm a
I
neutral
see the good side.
party. I don't do things for good or bad reasons. I do it because the job needs it done, whether that's by the hands of those who are trying to do good or not. If they pay high enough, I'll do the work.
An interesting philosophy. Well,
When I
I
can't
can
buy
see
it,
that Sheriff Brass is giving me the eye, so I feel like he's wanting to call your attention more than me. And
well, Sheriff Grass
he
will
gives a
always
wave.
give you eyeballs. I want my attention, but I figured I'd give you a little chat before I went back to him.
I see. Well, good to hear. So as he gives his awkward goodbyes, the rest of you all end up at the sheriff's office, where, once again, accompanied by a wonderful Kenku musician that goes by the name of Twang, sitting along and plucking a banjo, humming a tune that it must have heard from somewhere else, as the other automaton in this town, the Warforged known as now Dr. Malcolm, used to be designated Doc, D-O-C,
They are discussing and putting out plans, as it were, setting up for something that it seems that they want you to look into. Brass just says, all right, hope y'all are doing all right. Got some stuff for you that we could help. We need some looking into. Things that I think might correlate with a lot of things that have been going on, but I ain't too sure, so I figured maybe it's another avenue that we can look into. Some of you have brought up that maybe there is a supernatural element that we may have looked over. So this map right here, this is a town that used to be called Nightbit. It's more so to the northwest, close to the base of the Endworld Mountains. See, that town was kind of intended originally to be kind of the capital of the County of Hope, but that's what ended up coming here. And there was a local. Let's see if this sounds familiar. Town was governed by a local religious leader. Yeah. Well, some people are thinking that maybe that religious leader kind of had other intentions, looking into why that particular site. Because I guess it's just coincidence that the town used to be on the ruins of a dwarven kingdom. And Alfie, at the sound of dwarven kingdom, it gets your attention. And could you do a history check?
Indubitably. 11 plus 6. That's going to be a 17.
17. Yeah, you do know about the Nightbit was built over ruins. There were tunnels in that region that led to the ruins of a dwarven kingdom. Rumors were abound that the person who founded the town, the religious leader, went by the name of Salmus Hake, Hake, said that he may have restored an ancient altar in the ruins and was worshiping some sort of entity to keep the town safe. And the more apparently that this happened, the more coincidentally the town went into ruin until ultimately town went up in smoke essentially and everybody abandoned it. KJ, wonderful method acting for the wind to blow your hat off your head.
So Alfie would have relayed that information to the group. Yeah, he was relayed that to everyone.
All right, well, thoughts, opinions, ideas?
I don't believe
How
anything's
maybe
a
stuff can
coincidence.
correlate?
It's worth looking into. Coincidences normally just lead to tie-ins.
What y'all think of that new fella, the Sermon? Big shot trying to prove things, or is he legit?
Speaking of Brother Mason, I did a little more digging on House Vol's Copper already knows, but one of their concepts or ideals that they were absolutely obsessed with was death, but not just death, the embracing of one life to begin anew in another one. And that sounds familiar because that's what he said.
Yeah,
So
more or less. It did
while
sound pretty sane.
He looks well-meaning, and he's quite open-minded, but I'm suspicious of him. It's just too many things aren't adding up, and those that are suspicious.
Pardon me, sister, but
Bearing in mind is also.
I was just about to ask if you have anything to weigh in on
Pardon?
this. Any in particular insight?
Brother, That's what I was wondering. For one thing, I will say that the brother's statement regarding beginning a new life, it does fall within the beliefs of the church, in that those who may choose evil would be encouraged to seek mercy and repentance and therefore new life before considering that they may be put to the sword. While the ideals
I
may
understand.
intertwine, that is interesting. And we will bear it in
I
mind.
understand
The
religious
name,
belief, how that ties in, but
the name that Sheriff mentioned, does that ring a bell at all from previous studies, readings, gossip, the like?
The name that who mentioned? Sorry.
The religious leader. His name.
Yes. You know that Salmus Hake was kind of exiled from a lot of religious communities because it was believed that he may have been involved with a religion known as the Cult of the Dragon Below, which is a secret society as much and shuns large worships. One of the unfortunate side effects of a lot of leaders who are revealed to be part of that is that they have a tendency to go into madness.
Mm. So, this man that we were informed of, his name is familiar. His cult, even more so. Cult, religion, secular community of worship that tends to send those who engage in their beliefs into a bit of a spiral of madness, so to speak. Was it something of the dragon below? A draconic entity.
Well, we knew that it was studying something below, but I don't know. Listen, I think that maybe because that fellow were digging underground and we got some folks that are digging underground. I don't know. It's a hunch.
Digging a bit too deeply, I suppose.
Actually, sorry. You there, little fella. Joe, Edgar? Is that it?
Yeah.
Inspiration?
You just see him with like a massive like the equivalent of like a lamb leg just in the corner like I wasn't listening.
No, that's fine. You go on and eat. That's some good stuff right there. What? I'm glad you volunteered, but what is it that you do?
Well, I run mostly.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well,
I like
well,
food.
I'm sure it'll show up in its due time.
you can see
All right.
Delilah in the corner laughing. Like, fully.
He goes up to you, Silas. Keep an eye on that one, will you?
Yeah, I was just thinking if these cultists are going mad and insane, it seems like they'd fit right in well with Wyrmwatch. So,
Well, got me scratching my head over all this stuff. See, when I was fighting in the war, all we did was go where we were supposed to go and then kill the other guy. But now when you get all this stuff of bureaucracy and leaders and religions and all that, it's why me? You know what I mean? Yeah.
because we're the
That's
dumb
why I got all
bastards who
you to
live
do
here.
it too. Miss Avara, how you doing, darling?
I'm doing my usual rounds, making sure everything's all right and okay. How about you, my darling?
You happen to overhear anything maybe interesting? Rumors, hearsay, people talking too much, too loud?
Has Avara heard anything recently from her girls?
Give me a history check to jog your memory.
All right. History check, you said? Give me a moment.
Yes.
It'll be an 11 and 11 plus 1, so a 12.
You recall some of them telling you over some laughs about how some of the miners were trying to impress the girls with stories of their brave attitudes going into these deep, scary mines, and how some just can't take the pressure and go crazy if they dig too deep with things. But it was more of like, oh, that's just them trying to impress me, or at least that's how they passed it off.
All right. So Ivara just kind of shocked. She goes, had some of the miners come in. They tried to woo some of the girls, but they really honestly weren't all that impressed, if I do say so myself. They were kind of laughing about it after the hours were over.
Anything with those miners and what they say, we gotta take into consideration, especially after some of the things that we've witnessed.
I could never go into a cave. It's too dark.
Don't worry about that.
We have lights, darling.
If we get into a
Still too
dark
dark.
cave, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, we'll make sure we
I
leave the
can,
light on.
I can see in the dark. I don't like it.
Ivara is
nobody-
just going to look over at the gremlin and just kind of...
Gremlin?
Or not the gremlin, I'm sorry. But she's kind of just like,
Same thing.
what is
Same
this
thing.
thing? Why is it here? But you know what? I'm not going to question it because the man's enjoying himself, and as long as he pays his fucking dues.
You see him in
All right,
full
well-
white armor.
I'll still
Any
punt him out the
questions before I-
fucking tavern.
I'll also punt this little guy. No questions asked.
Silas will instead. Silas will pull out a copper piece, and he's going to tap it with his finger and use a use of his magical tinkering and hand it to the goblin. Just be like, "There, you just tap on that, and it'll light up for you whenever it gets dark."
Tap.
You hold on to it and you tap it, and it kind of like clicks on like a flashlight. Or a
You
torch
see
for
him
our
just
overseas
throw
friends.
it across the room. Ah! I didn't
Ivara
notice that.
just face palms, and you just, oh my god!
I want to
It
try
was
to
the
catch
right.
it. I want to try
Yeah,
to catch
well,
it.
he's your problem now. So here's what I think. Maybe chat up a few of the locals. You know, find out, see if you can get some info, especially those who've been working those weird shifts. You may have noticed, Delilah. All right. Find out what you can, and then take it with you and get that caravan out to. Well, it's about a couple hours if you run. Go on, get.
Okay, I'm good.
Silas finishes his
So-
coffee and then heads out.
Where would you
Ivara
like
just
to
rolls
divide?
her eyes and heads on out.
What would you like to do to socially divide and conquer?
I'm gonna pull Silas aside and head straight for the mines.
Okay. As for the rest of you, just so I have a sense of where, there's different districts that you can go to. There are plenty of options in terms of trying maybe to talk local businesses. Ivara, I assume you probably would just try to find people at your own place of business. It seems the most natural. Alfie, Edgar, Sister Mirashana, any ideas where you'd like to go?
I would
Silas.
like. You go.
No, go ahead.
I would like to look a bit more into the cult of the dragon below to see if there's any more recent incidents, or perhaps if any of the older members of the church recall something similar. And then I'll rejoin
Okay.
with whoever I happen to see next.
Okay.
As Silas walks out, Edgar's just gonna like follow right behind him, like not in his shadow. You can tell that he is very adamant about walking next to his shadow, so he's not walking in his shadow. And you just hear clank, 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 clank.
Hey, chew with your mouth closed, all right? That's rude.
This is me enjoying my clap.
Alfie will shuffle up to Edgar. My friend, how? Hey, calm down. How are you with things that go boom?
I don't like things that go boom.
I have an idea for you. Stay close to me. We're gonna make some things go boom.
I don't like things that go boom.
And
need
from
a
here,
guinea pig.
we go to Delilah and Silas heading to the mines. So you head there, and it's oddly enough not as heavily fortified as it's been. It almost looks a bit like understaffed in terms of guards, which is odd in the middle of the day. You approach the front gate, and there's nobody there.
I'm gonna send Bix into some scouting before we go any further.
Your raven. No. There we go. Flies in with your patented clicks and whistle communications. It's able to give you an idea as it floats, as it not floats, but flies around and gets a surveying of the area. You let it know, or it lets you know, that so far the only area that's being guarded is the the eastern entrance, which overlooks parts of the jungle more, as it's closer to that border of Kabara. It's still several miles away, but they seem to be focusing their attention in that area. By the way, all I can see is Isaac's face right from here, and it's just the occasional ice cream scoop or whatever he's eating is just popping in there. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolute. Just
It's a
love it.
vibe. It's a vibe,
I'm
honestly.
living for this energy.
It's great.
I'll slowly be relaying the information I get back to Silas so he's aware of what's happening as I get information.
Clank, clank.
Edgar!
I believe that Edgar went with Alfie, so.
Wait, did he actually drag him away?
Oh, yes. No question.
I don't want to go.
Oh, thank God. Thank the sovereign host.
Ibarra just lets the sound go quieter and quieter, and she's just like,
It's like a
Yep.
father dragging his child away by the collar. You just see him going limp, still
Exactly.
eating his chicken leg while he's being drugged.
Oh, it's now
I
chicken.
I love it. It's gonna be great.
He picked
Things
up
go
a- he
boom.
picked up a turkey leg on the way
He
back.
finished the lamb.
You got one
So
of
the
each.
two
It'll
of
never
you,
be hard to find him.
the two of you see this, and you realize, the unguarded gate, you could just walk through if you wanted to.
I'll look over at.
Feel like doing a
Delilah
little
and
bit of
give her a
sneaking around?
shrug. I mean,
Feel
dude,
like doing a little bit of sneaking?
might as well, right?
I mean, it's the first time I've had
Are
golden
we
opportunity to
going
actually
in
do any of it.
stealthily?
Absolutely, we are.
Roll stealth.
I will be giving myself guidance because I
Okay.
have disadvantage
have
on
that.
stealth checks.
I might have chosen the wrong person to do this with. I'm sure it's fine.
It's all right. I'll just talk my way out.
Clank,
You could have gone with the goblin that has heavy plate armor.
clank, clank.
The 23 stealth check.
Okay.
Hey, combined, we have a 30.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Well,
Oh,
it's
yes.
a good thing that you're serving as distraction at this point, because Delilah, you're able to kind of shadow your way through between the tents and service areas that are kind of stationed up there, past like labor equipment stands and stuff. But someone does catch you, Mr. Hayden.
Uh-huh.
It's a one of the miners. It's like, hey, you there, fella? Hey, don't I know you?
God, I sure hope not. Do I owe you money?
No. I ain't that kind of guy. No. I've seen you come out from that workshop there, right? You
Yeah.
got that place all shacked up to yourself. What you doing there all the time, man? I ain't never seen you
Well,
come
you know.
out half the time.
Hey, man, I'm working, same as you. What you do? I'm over in here in these mines all the time. I ain't never seen you out.
I'm just digging, doing what the lady tell me to do.
I gotcha. That Vitae, right? That's who that is?
Woo, she is something else, ain't she?
She is something else, indeed. I gotcha. All righty, yeah. Hey, I'll catch you later, all right?
No, wait, come on back here. And he kind of pulls you in at this
What
point,
you got?
and he starts talking your ear off about like his complaints about the daily strife of being a miner. And Delilah,
I'll just try to get a peek to see that Delilah is
Yeah.
still going, and then I'll just keep him going. Like, yeah, sure, yeah. Holy crap! You mean you only get a 10-minute break? You know, I think that by law in this county you're supposed to get 15.
you ever think of joining the union? You'd be a hell of a speaker.
Oh, no, I ain't do that. No, man, I run my own business, so I mean, I just try to do right by my new employees that I got. Yeah, so yeah.
And as
And
he
so on
starts
and
to
so on and
regale
so
you
on.
with tales about his own dad and how he was a businessman. So, Delilah, you do see that the cave entrance where the elevator or the lift would rather take up and down, it's unoccupied.
We're going down. I'll keep
Okay.
Bix outside, kind of keeping surveillance on the area and keeping an eye on Silas.
You were able to at least get enough time for you to quietly get in as the dwarven gentleman who's been talking your ear off, Hayden, finally just kind of, you know what, actually, let me roll something real quick to see if it works the way I think it might. Yeah, okay. Now I'd like to give me, this is going to be the most interesting way I've seen sleight of hand used. You're going to be using sleight of hand to basically escape out of the conversation.
All right, I got you. Sleight of hand. All right, it's not a bad roll. Can I guidance myself just to be safe?
Yeah.
All righty. That's pretty good. That's 23.
Yeah. You are able to pull one of those quick misdirects where you send him the direction, you go the other way, making him think you're going towards the exit. Well, you know,
Perfect.
fella, hey, I hope to grab you a beer sometime. That'll be a heck of a time. Get to share more
Yeah,
stories.
man. No worries there. I'll see you at the trench foot, all right?
All right. Hey, what a good guy. He just talks to himself. And you and Delilah, you're the whole time you're like, you see the opening, you go for it. You see that it's an easy lever to take the cart down, and you descend. It gets a bit darker, but there are ever bright lanterns that are keeping this place illuminated. And once you get to the bottom, there is a familiar smell to you, Hayden, as you are someone who experiments with dragon shards.
and it's a unique odor that only comes from them being toiled with and worked with, especially when using machines and hand tools to carve out from walls. And that is kind of filling this air stronger in a further direction down the tunnel. What would you like to do?
I'm looking for any out of place markings,
Okay.
any energy that feels off. I can probably shouldn't be here.
Give me an investigation check.
Guidance.
Bam. Guidance quick draw.
Guidance?
Guidance. Guidance.
Well, I haven't picked up the dice yet, so. Okay. That's a 23.
23. With the 23, as you watch, you can see that there are some really tapped out veins of ore of the dragon shards from here. And the deeper it goes, you can kind of follow along the path. What's odd about it is that it kind of looks like roots of a tree in the way the patterns are carved out, and they just keep becoming more centralized the deeper the mine shaft goes. Hayden, as you follow along, give me a perception check.
I can do that.
I cannot return the guidance because I do not have that.
Am I able to guidance myself?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Alrighty. Good. That is a 21.
Damn, blackjack.
Rolling rocks.
The way that these patterns are carved out, it's, again, you're getting the sense of like, it feels like there's purpose behind the direction that the mine shaft was going, as if they had a very strong sense of where to tap into this vein that kept going deeper. And that's not as common as it could be in mining dragon shards. Usually it's just continue in one path, like finding any other ore or mineral, until you hit the vein. This feels like they were being guided by it itself to get to a source.
Intriguing. Silas is just gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna work, but he's gonna just like try to like. You said that he could smell some things, but he's gonna, try to see if there's any kind of sense, like be it smell, be it like sound, maybe anything. He's been working with dragon shards a little bit, so he's wondering if maybe like he can pick up on some sort of resonance that they have, that maybe that's what they're
You
listening
kind of like
to.
feel around the walls looking for any sort of like traces or even, shard dust from different mines. And you do at one point, when you touch the wall, you get this sense of like a resin, like a very kind of like gelatinous type of liquid to it. And you look at your hands and it is like blood red with shards of like sparkling crystal like pieces in it. Doesn't quite like, not enough to like pierce your hand, but it is just kind of like it's somewhat embedded in it.
I'm gonna take a little bit of that, but maybe we'll be able to find something out when we get back. But he's just gonna kind of shake his head and go, "Nah, nobody digs like this. This ain't how that goes. No, it's almost like they had a map pointing where all the shards are gonna be, and that just don't happen.
Just adds on to the
Nobody's that
suspicion
lucky.
of some of the things that I've seen, so.
Well, shit.
Well, soon as they walk into this place, it's like they aren't them. They're focused on something central. It's almost like mind control.
Right.
So this is just more evidence of things that don't add up.
As you continue walking a little bit further, the light is harder to see the deeper you go. But you cross past one point, and what you see are not carved out pieces from mining, but this looks like inscription, like someone was carving words into the wall. What languages do the two of you speak?
Common and undercommon.
Common, Dwarvish, and Elvish.
It is a very archaic form of Dwarvish, you can tell. But it looks fresh. Like it's recently carved in there. Not something where it's like petrified to the point where it has been embedded into the wall. This looks like it has at least the last couple of weeks.
Somebody using this as code, maybe? Like, that also doesn't add up. What the hell is going on down here?
I'm going to take a piece of paper out and try to do like a chalk rubbing.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I tell what it says?
Yeah, if you'd like to attempt to translate it, why don't we just do a straight intelligence?
Can I guidance myself on it?
You can add your proficiency bonus as well.
Oh, okay. So we're just gonna pretend that it's that. Rolled low. That's a 9.
It's hard to decipher. It certainly looks like Dwarvish, but it just feels too erratic. The syntax is off. The grammar doesn't line up with the way usually the Dwarven language would present itself like that. It almost looks more like ramblings than any type of coherent language. But it has its familiarity in Dwarvish.
Yeah, we'll take that back, and maybe we'll see what that Alfie guy has to say about it. Maybe he can make some sense of it, given what he is. Also, he's a dwarf, so he might be able to read that too.
Hayden just making presumptions left and right.
I'll just kind of roll them up
right.
and stick them in my pack. Because we were told that like people that were leaders of this cult would go mad, and we see scrawls that look like the scrawlings of a madman and that are fresh. I want to see if there's any indications of, I don't know, like finger clawings on the walls, or listening to see if there's people around, someone's down here.
Sure. Give me an investigation check if you want to look for the kind of like claw marks or things that you were thinking of. Or you can give me a perception check to kind of give a scouting of hearing if anyone else might be around.
I'm going to do perception, because I have a better bonus for that. It's a 19.
Could I hum the investigation half just in case they yield different results?
Yes.
Guidance. That's a 16.
Okay. With the 19, Delilah, you do hear that it seems that somebody might be working down at the end of this mine. Which sounds weird because it's the middle of the day. It only sounds like there's one person working here.
Yeah, with everyone that I've seen for security and people coming in and out, this is Delilah's on edge.
You can hear it. And while this individual is working, you hear them kind of muttering some sort of repeated phrase over and over again. It sounds not like any language you've heard. And if you were to get Silas's attention, it certainly wouldn't be anything you've heard before. But it just is repeating over and over again, low and methodically.
As I'm hearing this, I'm going to try to commit the sounds of whatever's being said to memory so that I can try to recall it for later in case someone else might know what it means.
Does Delilah primary a weapon?
Delilah has a weapon.
It's not what she normally uses. She usually do the spellcasting things.
We've been in a couple of fights. Only seen Delilah really use it twice.
Well, just in case it's free. What is the weapon? What is it?
It's a whip.
Just in case it comes up as we're kind of moving, Sal's going to kind of look down, give that whip a tap, and cast magic weapon on it.
Okay. Yeah, so you cast magic weapon on it, and it will do the effect if necessary to need it.
Mhm.
So are you deciding to pull back, or did you? I know with 16, Hayden, Mr. Hayden, Silas, if you will, you do see that there are towards the bottom some claw marks, scratching kind of, small enough to be someone who'd be having that low center of gravity to the ground, but almost as if being dragged from the point where the inscriptions are and then deeper into the cave.
Well, that's disheartening. Yeah, Saz is gonna kind of like point down to the like grab Delilah and point down and be like, something was dragged deeper into his mind.
I don't like any of this, but gotta see what the heck is happening at the end of this line. Delilah's gonna slowly start heading down.
We'll return to that moment in just a minute. As we pull back and go to the Trenchfoot Tavern. Ivara, as you enter your establishment, your place of business, you see that it's pretty packed in tonight. Or today, actually. This is actually an alarming amount of people for the afternoon.
Yeah,
Actually,
well,
it's a lot of the mining staff. They're acting as if they're on break, but that's not how it works. They're always known to break in the areas outside of the mine entrance. The girls don't seem to mind. They're being treated politely. Everybody's enjoying themselves. There's no fights. Games are being done. Music's being played at the piano, but it's just odd that nearly 3/4 of this staff of miners are kind of all concentrated in your tavern.
So, are any of these miners or any of them seeming to be like the center of attention? What's the one miner that everyone seems to gravitate towards?
There is a kind of like
like a team leader of sorts. You would know them as Julian. Julian is one of the dwarven, calls himself a dwarf clan elder, even though that's kind of a practice that doesn't even really happen anymore in the culture. And he's very traditional, and he's kind of rousing up the boys and just kind of like saying, like, this is what we're built to do, you know? But they damn well respect us too and gave us some good old time to enjoy life for once. Life is worth living, god dang it.
All right, so Ivara is going to walk over to Julian, and she takes notice that like these guys are not really like she knows the patterns of her customers. She knows who comes in at what time, etc. And this is very off kilter. So she's going to walk up towards Julian. She's going to just kind of sit down next to him. She's going to take one of the beers that she got from her tap. She's going to set it in front of him. She's just going to slowly slide it towards him. And she's going to be like, hey, darling, I see you guys are in here a little bit earlier than usual.
Well, you know, we finally got our due. We struck huge on this one vein. I'll tell you, we had just shipped a huge haul out last night. Big old pile of them rocks coming out. And then we get word, heck, once midday comes today, we got the rest of the day off. Ain't that something?
Ivara just kind of like leans in a little bit, and she just kind of smiles, and she looks at this Julian, and she just sits there. She goes, "Oh, y'all hit big today? Come on, tell me about it, darling."
Well, last night we were, kind of pulling in some overtime. Somebody found some traces that may have been leading, and we just started kind of like getting in a zone, following this path. We were just digging away, digging at that sumbitch. And I tell you, when we hit that one vein, it was like looking right into the sun, full of reflection, just beautiful. I ain't never seen gemstone like this before. It was just, amazing. So we just hauled all that stuff out there. Must have took at least 3 or 4 shifts of us, just the whole team, just coming in and out and in and out. And, you just get so focused on stuff that you kind of forget what time goes by. And then all of a sudden, it's morning. So we all check out, other people coming in. We take our rest and, and Miss Vate comes up and she says, boys, you done so well. I'm going to take a look at what's going on. And then y'all got the rest of the day off. And we were like, well, I ain't saying no to that. So we come up here right after service, of course.
Ivara just kind of chuckles and she goes, "Well, I can't help but just say I'm very happy that you church-going folks decided to come by and visit this old place after you guys are done worshiping the Lord."
Well, with the way the new preacher be talking about, we figured spread the love.
Yes, it's all about spreading love, ain't it? She's gonna just kind of lean in. She goes, "So this vein y'all hit, what exactly did you guys hit? Are we talking gold? Are we talking silver? How's this town gonna be looking here in the next few days?"
Well, my dear, I believe that is a bit of a confidentiality upon my part working for Miss Vate.
She immediately just leans in close. She goes, "Oh, darling, why do you gotta talk like that? Why you gotta hide things from me? You know I can keep a good secret."
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it.
No,
You're not there, Isaac.
Ha! That would be a 19 plus
You have a
3.
negative to your charisma.
That'll be a 22, my good sir.
He goes, well, all right, he ain't gonna twist my arm, beautiful, but we done find ourselves some rare stuff. Stuff you may only hear about in them storybooks. At least that's what I thought, but then I saw it for myself. Beautiful, red, crimson, kyber.
Kyber?
The one and only stuff that you may only hear about if you go deep enough in that world and see that fire from below. But we done find it. Now, I think a lot of people at that institute gonna be quite happy because, well, they bought that stuff up real quick.
Now, does Ibarra know anything about Kyvern, or does anybody really in this town know anything?
Is different in depend when you say the word, it will mean different things to different people. If you were to say it to a religious person who is more of the draconic deity believing, that is the other dragon that helped of the three create the world. Kyber being the dragon down below, whereas Eberron is the dragon that the world we inhabit, and Sybaris, the dragon that surrounds in the stars. If you were to ask more of a historical person, Kyber is the term used for what other cultures may call the Underdark, an area where elves exiled themselves to live. But if you were to talk to geologists, Kyber is an incredibly rare stone, represented as such in that fiery red, due to the fact that it's got a bit of a connotation with the fire below the world. They say it's a very powerful resource in untapped arcane potential.
Fire.
All right.
Of course, though, you ain't hear this from me, you know what I mean?
Ivara, she just chuckles and she just kind of like taps him on the shoulder and she's just like, "Oh, darling, I don't know what you're talking about." Like she like it's like she's never even heard of it. And
you are as smart as you are beautiful, dear.
oh, thank you, honey. That's why I do what I do. And she's just gonna kind of just again push the drink that she had brought over towards him. She's gonna pat him on the back and she goes, "Let me know if you need anything else, darling. My girls will be happy to take care of you." And she's gonna walk back over behind the bar.
Job well done. We move now to the interesting duo of Alfie and Edgar, which sounds to me like a vaudeville act.
Ah! Put me down!
I am so excited for Edgar.
Listen, my friend.
Edgar has
I'm applying
life.
Listen, my friend, I am trying to apply a subtle amount of compound 4 to your rear end. Just try and see if we can use it to catapult you without using a cantrip or a spell, I mean. Just sit still. Let me apply it, because this is a very volatile component. Stay still. No!
Now, Alfie, you've used metal components before to kind of manufacture a makeshift mini rocket, as it were, but you never quite figured out the weight ratio that you needed. And it turns out that someone of Edgar's size feels like it could be the right calculations if you put enough propulsion behind it. He doesn't have to know that, though. Edgar, for all you know, you have just basically been kidnapped by a lunatic stuffing your armor with dynamite.
I would like to rage. No. He's gonna try to break out.
Okay. So, as plate armor is quite hard to just disrobe from, Alfie, you do see that he is immediately just like, fuck this, and just like is trying to get out of his armor as quickly as possible.
I need you to trust me, my little friend.
No. He's trying to get out away before he starts shoving dynamite down his pants.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You get out of your armor as you now, Alfie, have just a pile of plate armor as a scantily clothed goblin is running away.
Wait, come back! I need you! No! I will not!
And he just like starts running down the street.
There's like a couple of
look at me!
There are people like watching. There's a couple parents covering their children's eyes. Just
He doesn't care. He is running. He's still avoiding any shadow. So like
Yeah.
you'll see him like running straight down the road, and then see like a shadow, and he's like, and then like runs past it, and then runs back into the middle of the road. It's like that train game where your person
There,
like
there are
running and you have to
kids
dodge.
laughing their asses off at this. There's just, as they watch a crazed dwarven man chasing after him with a pile of explosives.
Edgar would find a way to run around to get his plates again, and he would try to lose this.
As you
Dwarf.
you dodge and weave as Alfie has dropped pieces behind him in his pursuit of just capturing you, picking up one piece at a time until eventually you're able to put your armor back on. Now, Alfie, you're kind of start back at the beginning of where you are, except now you're in the middle of town and everyone's watching you.
Clank, 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 clank. Excuse me, madam. Perhaps your child would be up for.
You stay the hell
science-
away from my child. Slaps
That's
you in the
not
face.
accurate. I just need a reasonable test subject. I have so many experiments to perform. Angry woman!
Runs
And as
faster.
that goes on, Sister Mirashana, you see them pass by and realize probably not best worth asking about that. And what are you doing at this time, sister?
It was a good run.
She is going full Gandalf into the archives of Gondor type scenario. She's going to keep our old history records, finding any mention of the cult of the Dragonbow or similar secular from previous.
Give me a. You can either give me a history check or religion check.
Your religion check. Maybe
Okay.
15. 15.
Okay. As you're scouring through the books, not a lot of available resources in this small town, but enough to kind of get an idea of what's affiliated with this cult of the dragon below. One thing that you realize is that it is not a unified religious doctrine. The large majorities of these cults are just very mad and dangerous. They turn towards forces society shuns for personal power. Many followers of Dragon Below cults are insane. They hold strange beliefs as aberrations, being beautiful creatures that will reward them for their devotion. Or they may worship creatures known as the Dalkir, which are some of the earliest ancient species of this world. Or fiends of the realm of Khyber and their masters from the very first age of existence. The city of Sharn, you even see, has at least 3 active sects of cults of the Dragon Below. Nothing really specified, but mostly from historical records that there were active groups. And that's what you're able to pull.
Was there any specific mention of sort of signs that people might have noticed before they started their descent into madness, or any association with mining habits, something like that?
I'll let you do an investigation on this one if you, since you're digging deeper into this particular facts.
I'm going to roll that with inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah. 14.
There is one particular one that kind of pops up. It's the only like real clear-cut description of one of the cults that's been affiliated with It's called the Cult of Slime. And members of these cults follow a Dalkir that was known as Kirzin, the Prince of Slime. These clans, also known as Gibberers, revere and tend to gibbering mouthers. They feed their elders and the infirm among them to the beasts as a mad form of preservation. Their practice dictate that the souls of these consumed are preserved within these entities. Gibbering mouthers are amorphous mounds of flesh, mouths, and eyes named for their incoherent speech that sounds mostly like gibberish.
Horrific.
Indeed.
She'll tuck away the scroll that she was sort of writing these small notes on and tuck it into my side pocket. If that was all that I could find at the moment, given our limited circumstances, I'll wander back out to town and see who I might come across.
You bump into the headmistress of the school, Miss Everhart. A mousy young woman, hair pulled up. She's got very large, round glasses. She kind of resembles Elizabeth from Fallout. Not Fallout, geez. Bioshock.
Good day to you, Mr.
Oh, hello, sister. Did you find everything okay?
Yes, just doing some research of a local watch. We never know what we might encounter these days.
Oh, yes. I don't want to impute upon the authority figures here.
Are you well?
Oh no, I respect what you do. I think it's very helpful to this town. The children always love a good hero story, and you know they tend to seem to pay attention to a lot of you more, I guess, I don't want to say interesting types, but they're an eccentric bunch that you tend to work with.
They are. But do let the children know we serve the people first and foremost.
Oh, I
It's only with their
absolutely
trust
will.
that we can operate the way we do.
And you seem like a fair and virtuous leader for them.
Oh, leader, I would hardly say that.
Well, we all find our strengths in different ways. I like to teach.
You do a wonderful job teaching them. It's nice they can look to you for guidance.
I appreciate it. Well, if there's nothing else I can do, library's free to use. I'm going to actually see about getting some food. I am very famished. Can I ask you, do you recommend the food at the tavern? I hear so many people talk about it.
Oh, I do. Ivara runs establishments for all sorts.
There were a few of the fathers of children that were picking up their kids saying that they were going to be eating out at the tavern. I wasn't quite sure what they were, what kind of food that they were discussing. But, well, I could always try myself.
Also, a question for you, miss, before you go. I don't suppose you've heard any unusual rumors from the miners as of late, given the arrival of the new Lady Vitae and all the business hullabaloo that's been going on.
She's quite
Perhaps
a
from the
mysterious
parents
person,
or the
isn't
families?
she? I will say this. I haven't been really able to find any records about her family. If it's a name that seems to be in sort of a wealthier class, maybe they're just very protective of the name
It's not unusual.
The wealthy can be quite eccentric. Oh, thank you for your time, Miss Eberron. And of course, thank you, as always, for access to your resources.
Much obliged. Anytime. Well, I'm off to have some lunch. Have a great day.
Enjoy yourself.
Back
Did she seem
to
genuine when I spoke
the-
to her?
You can roll insight.
Yeah.
Rolling.
These are not good rolls today. That was only an 8.
Oh.
She's kind of too soft-spoken to really kind of pull any sort of, there wasn't a lot of eye contact, but it just seems like she's just a very shy person. If
That's
KJ's
alright.
able to get her
Been
back
plenty.
in, we will return to that moment. But in the meantime, we are going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll continue this wonderful adventure and see where they will end up in the mines. We'll see you in about 15 minutes, folks. Head on back now, you hear?
And welcome back. Now you may be wondering, why is Silas the only one on screen with the GM? Well, Silas, in the cave, you've seen the inscriptions. You've seen the scratches on the walls. I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Michael, I thought we were friends.
My friend, this is a supernatural D&D game.
Yeah, well, we're about to see how supernatural it gets, because that is a 6.
Silas, are you afraid of ghosts?
Am I afraid of ghosts? Was that what the question was?
Yes.
That's a good question. I'm going to make a roll for it. I would say that Silas would maybe entertain the belief of ghosts. There's got to be something that explains some things that, don't quite make sense with the world. And if that's the case, he would respect them, but not necessarily turn tail and run in fear.
How much would you say that Silas knows about the history of mining for dragon shards?
I would say he's been working. Well, he would be looking into it as kind of the nature of the beast, as he is researching dragon shards for his own projects. So he would kind of know what you would get from a cursory glance over it, kind of know the importance, not the important bits, not the specifics.
With that being said, you probably at some point would have heard about stories of miners digging so deep that end up accidentally collapsing the mines on themselves. And that when those caves are re-entered, the sounds of those miners from before may still echo through the old passages. There have been times when workers have worked for so long on shifts, they lose sight of their very being and only become involved in digging deeper and deeper until they fall dead sometimes. Miners have been known to keep going past others that have fallen behind to pick up the slack. Where you are at this deep a point in the mine that you are in, you've stared at those inscriptions onto the wall. You start to notice that there feels like a hypnotic pattern of sorts to it. The more you look at it, the more you see these symbols, these glyphs. Your mind starts to just try and make sense of it all. At some point, you even can hear your own voice telling you, "You've got this. It can do it. That's the piece right there. This is what you've been waiting for. That's her."
can't quite tell, though, what it's talking about. You feel drawn to this. Give me a Constitution save, if you will.
Constitution save. We're moving up in the world. That's a 7. Or sorry, modifier. That's a 10.
What do you think before you black out?
Hearing that voice, looking down the hallway or down the tunnel, as it were, not sure what it could be. The thought is, I guess we're going to have to try.
Strange things can happen when madness is creeping up on someone. But madness has not taken the toll of an inventive mind like Al and Edgar, his unwilling partner.
Ow!
Continually chasing your lab rat, as it were, through town, you do bump into Sister Mirashana. And eventually, Ivara as well. Having now
Everywhere!
all done what you have set out to do.
What is this short thing, god damn it?
What are you talking?
So as you
Why
are
are you
aware
running
that you're aware that Silas and Delilah are taking their time with their research, so you figure that they're probably pretty in-depth with what they're doing. However, the four of you collectively have pretty much accomplished what you've needed to set out for, so there's nothing really much left in regards to what you were trying to accomplish. And as you head back to Sheriff to kind of discuss these things, you see that Brother Mason is having a conversation with Lady Eleanor Vitae just outside of the chapel.
Edgar's gonna hide. Just instantly hide and listen.
Roll stealth.
We're going to listen.
With his big clampity clamps. I love it.
Clank, 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 clank.
Yeah, with disadvantage.
First one is a 17. And the second one's an 18. Oh my word.
Really?
Which
Okay.
would be
Well,
a 19
you
on stealth.
essentially being a walking garbage can, you're able to tuck yourself away where the rest of you kind of like couldn't quite figure out where they went.
Barrel.
Exactly. In a wily coyote moment, you are able to hide yourself away. Yeah, but the three of you do see that they are holding a steady conversation. It seems that Lady Eleanor, this is very rare for her to be seen out in daylight this much.
Mira
And Eleanor is
going to
the
turn to Ivara and
correct.
start talking to me.
Pardon?
I turned to you and I said, pretend you're talking to me. And then I cast a little spell, like thoughts on Lady Vitae.
Ooh.
Right.
Ivara just keeps up the charade. She immediately just, as soon as Mira says, just pretend you're talking to me, she immediately is just like, so Sister Mira, what's all going on at the church? She's just like, she doesn't even question it.
On the
And that's
surface level,
wisdom saving throw for Lady Vitae.
that will be if you're going deeper
into the mind. Are you just going for the surface level at this point?
We'll try the surface level first, and then Mira's method moving.
Absolutely. So on the surface level, you do hear basically a pattern of conversation that she's trying to keep up with Brother Mason in regards to find out how the congregation's sermon went. Ask him his thoughts about the business of dragon shard mining. Remember, keep eye contact with it. That makes polite conversation. Just these kind of like ritual thoughts of trying to make sure that she is acting like a person. Like just this kind of like reminder to just be a presence that many expect her to be at this point. Do you wish to dive deeper?
I will try to probe deeper.
Then I shall roll to see if I... So it's against your spell DC, correct?
I think it's just a straight save.
Yeah. Okay, because well, it'll be against the number that's your spell DC. So let me see. One moment. Okay. Tension building. Sure enough, you are able to dig a bit deeper. What you hear is something almost as if it kind of catches your presence. As it's you hear the first thought saying, he's doing well. Follow-up thought is, after she looks at you, let's not be nosy. Sister
sorry?
Mira!
Sorry, you like lagged
How
for like
are
just
you?
a moment. Yeah.
She waves at you.
No, I didn't catch what you said before that.
Oh, she said,
After the he's doing
as she
well.
looked at you, she said, let's not be nosy.
I'll turn away of the innocent act as if I was just in that conversation with Ivar, and I sort of just like, and then turn back to speaking. Life, like,
She
back
proceeds to walk to
Ivar and
you
said,
at this point to accompany and see if she can engage in conversation with the two of you. Hello, ladies. How are you? Wonderful day today.
Very well, thank you. We didn't expect to see you wandering about. How have you found the arrival?
Oh, despite the heat, I still like to carry my parasol for the sake of just I'm not too fond of getting the sun in my eyes after, you're in an office all day. It's very hard to get adjusting to the light still, but I hope that I'll grow thicker skin for it.
Ivar just kind of chuckles and she looks at the man and she just kind of goes, well, darling, I hope you get yourself a thicker skin because in this town you're gonna fucking need it.
Ooh. She chuckles. Yes. Give me a insight check.
Me?
Yes.
All right. $16 + 2 will be an 18.
You catch that as she looks down, she catches a quick glance of your book.
Ooh.
Ivara just she shuffles for a second and she just kind of flashes a smile before she kind of runs as almost like a habit. She runs her hand along the chain and she just kind of keeps her hand on her book for a moment.
Well, ladies, I do have to attend to business, so and she looks and she kind of sees a strange creature peeking out of a barrel.
Ow! Leave me alone! Oh, there you are. Come. We have science to perform. No, where are you going?
He will like throw his body weight against the barrel and just start rolling.
Is Ivara within the
Oh yeah, you're all witnessing this.
So
Yeah.
Ivara sees the barrel start rolling and she's just going to put her foot on it for a second and just be like, what in the hell are you doing right now, son?
I don't think I'm close enough to you. I'm rolling away
Yeah,
from
you are. I want to see
Am
this
I?
happen. You are.
What? Before this happens, can I roll
You're
insight
rolling
on
in
the
the
one chick?
direction.
The barrel was right next to her.
Before Ivara steps on my thunder, can I roll an insight check on the one lady that...
Yes, you may.
Okay, cool. Because I made my little goblin a lie detector.
Oh boy.
That would be a 14 plus 9.
Yeah, you caught basically that she was checking out that book. Pretty interested.
So I also see the book.
You what?
Uh-oh.
I didn't hear it.
I said, so I also see the book.
Yes.
Cool.
Well,
So as
Ivara
you roll-
still stops your barrel and it's just like, oh, who the hell is this dude?
He's gonna blow me up!
Ivara just
Barrel
like,
roll
as he's like trying to struggle in the barrel, Ivara just flips the barrel up and she tries her best to pull out this little goblin.
He's holding the top on.
As you struggle back
he-
and forth, with Alfie trying to mediate between the two and Sister Mirashana knowing not what to do with this situation, the other, we pan away, and I'm going to bring back
What
So,
the I miss?
Delilah. You have been peering down the end of this cavern, and then you hear a thud, and you see that Silas has passed out next to you.
Is there anything around? Do I can I see what happened?
All you know is that in a very brief moment, while you looked away, he stopped and passed out.
Just passed out. He's still breathing.
Yeah, you can check. He's still breathing. He's just knocked out, it seems. Great acting, Matt. He's okay, folks. He's okay.
How close are we to the sounds I was hearing?
They're probably a good 50 feet away.
Oh boy.
All right, Matt, you're freaking me out. Open your eyes.
If he's just passed out, he'll be fine. You'll be fine, right?
Do a medicine check.
Sure. Why the heck not? Could be worse. That isn't. Oh, I'm good at this. 19.
His pulse is racing. You can actually see his heart pounding in his chest. This is bad.
I had nothing to help this dude. I am going to cast. Probably won't help, but
Well, Matt, roll a new character, I guess. No. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna cast resist him.
Okay.
Just move him up against the wall, and I'm gonna
Okay.
keep going forward.
Okay. Matt, just so you know, Silas is going to take a point of exhaustion. Delilah, as you go forward, I need you to do a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy. Maybe I should have cast resistance on myself. $17.
17. As you get closer to the sound of the one singular person working, the chant they were saying starts to almost sound like someone speaking in tongues. Something like a babbling mouth, just almost incoherent speech, but soft and muttering. Every now and then, though, you just hear, "Give to it. Give to it." As you get closer to them, you can now see that this is a middle-aged human, male-presenting individual, completely covered in dirt and soot and just smelling foul, like they have not eaten or bathed. Their hands are raw and bruised from holding on to the pickaxe. The pickaxe looks worn down. It's barely breaking any of the rock. But he just keeps digging, chipping away at it. And you'd hear, give it, give it more.
I'm gonna creep up behind him, and I don't even care if I'm stealthy about it. I'm gonna get up behind him and just kind of whisper in his ear, "Rest," and I'm casting command.
Okay. I'm going to say it won't even really
wisdom
need
saving.
to try and resist in its weakened state of just existing. And you just see them, their eyes roll back in their head, and they just drop it and then fall to the ground, slowly breathing now and fast asleep.
Is there anything on the walls or anything where he was that peculiar? Anything I see further down?
It just looked like they reached a dead end. There was nothing really more to take from this area. You have your partner in this situation steadily calming down but exhausted. There's another individual here, passed out from working for who knows how long. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna drag the worker back towards where Silas is. And just lay him down. Not a healer cleric.
I
so
will
can't-
consider this moment in time essentially a short rest for the two of you. At that point, Silas, you will have woken up now. You're incredibly drained, though. You feel like you've been hit by a cart head on at this point. You can't quite remember what happened, but you do know that last thing you remember, you were looking at that wall.
Silas is gonna kind of like sit up a little bit, kind of like grab his temples and start audibly complaining as he kind of like sits up a little bit more and is just basically just trying to get his bearings again. And the first actual words that come out of his mouth are, "I need a cup of coffee."
Good to have you back.
I don't know if the feeling's mutual. Dear sweet Lord, I feel like shit.
Now you know how I feel on daily.
That sucks. You should drink coffee.
At that
Doesn't
point,
make
the
me-
body next to you, the exhausted worker, springs back up and starts screaming his head. He is just terrified at what is going on. Ah, no, it's everywhere. Please help me. Help me.
Calm down. Calm down.
He's practically like foaming at the mouth in hysteria. It's just shaking
I'm gonna-
visibly. He's just
I'm gonna give him water and just try to
chugs it
get him
down
to
like
calm
it's the
down.
first time he's ever had water.
Silas is standing, Wanda at the ready, but not quite sure what's going to happen.
You can see that he is in just ragged clothes. He has nothing on him. Even the pickaxe wouldn't hurt you at this point. It's practically in shambles. But his body is shaking.
What happened?
I don't know how long I've been here now. We started digging. We found we hit an ore. We hit a vein and we just kept digging. And then before I know it, I'm the only one who's here, and I tried to get away, but something pulled me in. And then I kept digging. And I couldn't stop. I'm so
You're gonna
tired.
be okay, alright? You're gonna be just fine.
What's your name, boss?
I'm Jacob.
All right, Jacob. Why don't you just take a seat right there, just for a moment while we try to figure this out.
I just need help getting out of here. I can't be in here. Please, get me out of here.
If you follow my raven here, Bits, he'll lead you all the way to the surface. Alright?
Okay. My uncle used to have a bird that follows into the mines. I know this practice well. All right. Either way. God.
I'll send
He's
Bits
just
with
hysterics.
I'll send Bits with a note to give to Copper, explaining everything we found down here. And I'll look to the man and say, I need you to go talk to Copper Brass.
Right.
Tell him anything
sheriff.
that has happened to you.
Right.
Him, alright?
Okay. Thank
Be
you.
careful.
Thank you kindly, both of you, so much. Thank you. He stumbles out, holding onto the walls to get back to the elevator, to the lift. Goes up, but he does send it back down at least.
And as you retrace your footsteps back, Silas, every step feels like it hurts. Delilah, you can see that Silas is struggling, but it's the most exhausted you've ever seen someone like this. Heading back up it's a challenge. And you feel like every movement of the lift on your body, Silas. Eventually getting back up, the light hits your eyes, and you feel like you almost practically been like just blinded by it. As if you had been in that cave for such a long time that you forget what light feels like.
If he doesn't have a hat on, I'll give him mine to help shield his eyes from the sun.
He has one, and he will actually just like take it, pull it down so that the brim is blocking the sun. Just, like he has the worst hangover imaginable, and just start stumbling away.
Now you said...
Delilah, it dawns on you, though. You recognize the look on Silas's face coming out of this mine. This is the same type of expression you saw on the workers leaving that shift. Maybe not as in-depth as this shock is, but incredibly similar and just as lifeless.
You said the eastern side of the mines was what was the most heavily protected currently?
Sorry, one more time?
You said the eastern side of the mines was most heavily protected currently?
Yeah, they're looking out in the far jungle border.
Silas, you're a little worse for wear. But if Miss Vitae has anything to do with this, like I think she does, and like we've been sustained, and that's where it's most protected, gotta check it out. I'm not gonna ask you to come with in your current state, but if you're willing.
You ain't asking shit. You also ain't going nowhere by yourself. And it like the mind's willing, the body is like takes a second, but he's just like, let's go to work.
Knowing where Eleanor's residence is, it's not too far from the site, and it's a generic path from town, but localized enough where it's not too far a walk. You kind of, as you get closer, there's a strange feeling that you feel, Delilah. Being the type of species that you are, knowing that this is your second chance at life, as it were. Something you have not felt in quite some time startles you. You know the feeling that after your arm or hand has been numb for a bit, and the first time that the circulation starts to act up again, you get that tingling sensation that like nerves are reacting in your arm again. And you feel it on the other one too. And it's this odd feeling that it's like your old self. And it's only that you have felt that after you've passed through the gates on the way out of the mine, heading towards this residence. Silas, oddly enough, at the same time, your head starts to become a bit clearer. And you feel like, yeah, you can adjust now a bit more to the light, and your eyes kind of blur less, but
Kind of feels like it's now just a feeling you can just shake off. It didn't happen immediately after leaving, but it's gradually gotten better. You also notice that on Delilah, her fingertips aren't as blue as if there were no circulation in them. In fact, they kind of look like there's a bit more of regular fleshy hue to them.
How you holding up?
Feeling things I ain't felt in a long time.
Anybody else, this would be a good thing, but with you, I'm concerned that you appear to be getting some of your color back.
She'll look down at her hands, note the difference, look concerned, look back up at him, and say, "Don't worry about me."
It's at that point that all of you hear the ringing of a bell loud in the center of town now, as Doc Malcolm is running from the direction of the sheriff's office, panic-stricken.
Loud!
He's trying to get everyone's attention. Help! Help me, please! Please! Sheriff, he's...
Hear the yell,
happening, Doc?
and he's
What's
just
happening?
gonna push the lid off.
The Sheriff Brass is... He's dead.
Don't you
Wait,
fucking dare.
whoa,
And
wait,
Silas is just going.
And that's where we're going to end
towards the
tonight's
sheriff's
stream.
office.
No.
Ivara is already running as well, but goddamn, you're ending this as Sheriff Brass is dead?
Sir,
Welcome to
Sir.
Wyrmwatch, bitch.
You gave us a perfectly good NPC and then you killed him off. How dare you?
You little fuck!
It was a perfectly good.
I think that's
one
what
of
they did.
the best.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody, for
Isaac,
watching
100%.
tonight's initial broadcast of Frontiers of Eberron. I hope you've enjoyed it. For all of you who stuck around, please feel free to watch us next time with Matt's stream on Wednesday nights for the Dimensional Dial of Dr. Diago. I'm reading all the feedback now. Oh boy, am I gonna get it. Thank you again to all of our players.
yes.
Again, if you'd like to follow us online. Oh my god, they're all flooding in now.
We'll never
please
an
follow us.
NPC there. It's how they die.
At 2B Diced ADV, all across social media. And thanks again for watching, everyone. And we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night. We will see you next time when the sun rises on Wyrmwatch.